Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I have been enjoying doing some slightly more simple yet gorgeous cards recently, and this is another one of them that I really liked the look of once I was finished. And all I'm going to do is I have this yellow, it's kind of a really light yellow piece of cardstock, and I showed you that stacked set of hearts that I had from the beginning, and I have cut out lots of those hearts. I just chose 2 different sizes, but you could definitely do all the same size. And all I'm going to do to every single one of these hearts is fold them in half. Now I found that I could get a pretty good fold and nice and even and things just using my hands. I found that that was the quickest way since I had a few to do. However, if you are more comfortable using like a scoring board or something like that, then go for gold and use that. It'll be just as good. I am going to zoom through some of these processes because, as you can see, it's identical for every single one of the hearts, so hence why I skipped the die cutting part, and now I'm going to skip through the part where I've just folded them all, and that's all I've done for the minute. Next thing, what I'm going to do to them, I have my finger daubers here, and I'm just getting out my light yellow finger dauber. I have a light and a dark one for each colour. And I'm going to use some squeezed lemonade distress oxide ink, and all I'm going to do is put a little bit of ink on the front at the top and then open it up and put it in the middle at the top. This just gives the cardstock a little bit of variation and doesn't keep them quite so flat looking. The only thing that you have to remember when you're doing this is that I am keeping the folded edge to the left hand side. So I want all of my ink to be on the same parts of the hearts. Otherwise it won't quite work out when you come to create your flowers. So that is definitely the one thing that you have to remember, is always keep the fold of your heart in the same direction. And then just go through every single one of them, and it's nice and quick with the finger daubers. I found this the easiest way by far. The next thing I'm going to do is I have taken a little bit of a slightly darker yellow, and I'm just going to do the very edges. Now this is really quick. You can just see that it adds a little bit of different color to the very top. Again, this is just about creating not quite such a flat looking color on our flowers. Then I have this embossing folder, and I'm going to take a piece of heavyweight vellum and run it through my die cutting machine just with a squishy tan mat, and that makes it emboss really nicely. So I really like the look of embossed vellum at the moment. I've been enjoying doing that in my card making. And then from Alina Crafts, I have the It's a Boy or It's a Girl set here. I'm also going to come back to that in a second because I wanted to kind of get a bit more of my card made first. So I have used the Hero Arts Infinity Rectangles die set, and I've used one of these, I think it's the second largest rectangle to cut out that little frame. And then I also cut out the It's a Girl out of both white cardstock and the exact same yellow cardstock that I made the flowers out of. Now to add the vellum to my frame, I am going to use some double-sided adhesive from Alina Crafts. Now I really love these double-sided adhesives because not only are they super strong, but they come in a 2mm, a 3mm, a 5mm, and an 8mm. So they are some really nice skinny adhesives for getting into those really tricky little parts, just like this little tiny frame here, which I want to adhere my vellum down to. So I'm just going to put it all around the outside of the frame, and then the way that I line up my vellum nice and straight when I know that it will just fit my frame is that I just pull off the top part of the frame and then 2 little parts of the side. So you can see just here, here's the top part, and then I just pull back like an inch or so of those 2 bits, and then I line the vellum up from the bottom upwards. So the bottom is obviously not sticky, it's still got the release paper on it. Once it's all lined up, I can press it at the top and then pull down the rest of the parts, and that way I know that it's all lined up and nothing is crooked. So that's the beginning of my card. Then I'm going to pop around another layer of the double-sided tape, and this is just so that I can adhere it down to my card base. My card base is a 110 pound Nina Solar White, and the reason that I'm using double-sided adhesive instead of liquid glue is that I find it adheres vellum a little bit better and a little bit faster than the liquid glue. So my card base is pretty much done, and now it's just a matter of putting all of the elements on top. So I have all of the flower petals, and again, all you need to do here is to make sure that all of those folded edges are facing in the same direction. So as you saw at the beginning where I had the two different sized hearts, this is obviously the larger sized heart, and I've kind of got 8 petals all lined up and ready to go. The quickest way that I found to do this was just using a hot glue gun, and I'm sorry it's a bit tricky, you'll see it pop in and out of frame. And by using the hot glue gun, I just know that it's going to be super secure and nice and fast way to adhere them down. And all I'm doing, I kind of line them up with the opposite petal, and that way it makes sure that they are nice and straight. So I know that there's 8 going to be in there, so there's obviously an even number, and so that is the easiest way that I found. So I've popped them all down there. I'm not too worried about it coming off the edge of the card. I am going to trim this up in a little bit. Then I did figure I needed to put the sentiment on first because I wasn't sure where the other flowers were going to go. So I didn't like the white. I feel like it got washed out against the backgrounds. So I used a little bit of mustard seed Distress Oxide ink to colour that white cardstock into that kind of darker yellow. And that is going to be my little shadow for the lighter yellow, which I used for the flowers and the frame. This is where I'm just using some liquid glue to adhere them all down. That way it makes it nice and easy that I can kind of slide them around until I have them in exactly the right place that I need them. And I'm also going to end up putting on some foam tape onto the back of these letters. And again, this is what I love about the foam tape from Elena Crafts, is that you can easily cut down even the skinny size. You can cut it in half with a nice sharp pair of scissors. So I've put foam tape on the back of all those little letters, and I'm just working backwards so that it says it's a girl. And this way I will be able to pop down all of my other flowers without running out of room for the sentiment in the end. So I ended up creating this as a baby card, obviously, but you could obviously use the same technique for birthdays or any card under the sun. You could use these hearts to create flowers. This is not a new idea. It's been done a million times before, but this was fun for me to try out, and I am just sharing it with you guys. Just to show you another way to go about doing it, I guess. So again, I hope you like these kind of slightly simpler videos where it's just taking a nice simple technique and applying it to a card. Again, I really appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts and letting me know in the comment section down below this video. I'm just going to finish off this card with one more little flower down here in the corner. I had enough petals to do it, so I thought I may as well add one more. And you can see there I've also added some half flowers, and I quite like the idea that there's some coming off the page as well. I am going to trim up all of these, and I find the easiest way is to turn the card over and cut them from the back. It kind of ends up being the neatest way to do it as well. And then I have this beautiful big kind of pearl gems from Elena Crafts, and the nice big one is going to go in that middle flower. And then I'm going to use some slightly smaller ones. These do have adhesive on the back already, but I knew that I was going to be mailing this card, so I wanted to add some hot glue to make sure that they were going to stay in place. And the other good thing about this card, if you are mailing it, is that all of those hearts are going to go nice and flat when you pop them through in an envelope. A couple of little finishing details, and I think this one makes a big difference, is taking some sort of yellow marker. This one happens to be a clean color real brush marker by Zig, and I'm just adding a little bit of detail into the center of the flowers, and I really think this makes for a nice finishing touch. Anyhow, let me know what you think of this, and I look forward to reading all of your comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.